I freely admit I wrote most of this over a year ago and never edited the video. Writing is way easier for me than editing, so I can enjoy the feeling of progress by doing the easy part and then procrastinate the unfun skill component. Sure, it's not the best habit. Statistically, no one watches my content anyway, so not posting a video doesn't mean much. But current events didn't happen overnight. History is made every day, but the rhyming warning signs are all around us.
The government are all Nazis!
So I'm going to complain about something relatively silly and low stakes, but it is emblematic of how we got here. The US reliance on cars is stupid. It's a broken system with too much money invested in keeping it from changing, like many other aspects of the country. I don't have answers for most things, but let me ignore stressing over my final grades a little bit longer by making my case against cars. Driving is something we are all pretty casual about. It's a largely assumed capability for most adults, especially in the US. You get your license when you're young, try not to lose it by being dumb, and renew it until you can't anymore. You drive to school, to work, to do errands, to see a friend, to get to most places in everyday life. Road trips are a common vacation in the US, and only a handful of US cities have passable public transit, which leaves driving as the only way to get around. It is almost impossible to escape driving in the US, but I think we've become too blasé about it. Driving is a huge safety risk. It isn't the most efficient way for most people to get most places, and it's very expensive.
In this economy ngayon?
Other cities and countries have it figured out, but the US will never let cars fall from dominance, which handicaps progress towards any other solution. I blame lobbyists. I have to start by saying I don't drive, and haven't for over a decade. The only car I owned was a brown Jeep, and I hated driving it. Navigating a car through traffic is exposure therapy to constant life or death situations. One mistake could end a life, so you better know how to handle that several thousand-pound floating metal box. Driving stresses me out, so I don't anymore. I had a full California driver's license, but it has long since expired. I haven't escaped cars completely, though. Culture and practicality sometimes make it through my strong aversion. It's an American stereotype that we all get to drive at 16 and we all own our own car at that age. My high school certainly had conversations about the driving test and who would need more than one attempt. Bringing your car into the senior lot was a milestone for many people. Even more so than signing up for student loans or the military at 18, the fact that we let teens drive before they can drink after such basic testing is insane. Not to mention how long seniors can cling to their keys. I can only speak for the American driving experience, but people are crazy. Passing a driving test does not make you a good or responsible driver. Speeding, distracted driving, driving under the influence, and good old human stupidity make the roads a very dangerous place. One person being late for work and cutting across traffic can end multiple lives. Drunk drivers are some of the dumbest and most selfish people alive, but that won't stop them from taking your life. Someone not bothering to read road signs or trying to multitask on the highway could massively alter, if not end, your life through no fault of your own. Putting aside all the terrifying factors of driving, road rage is a very human issue that legitimately scares me. People have engaged in road rage to the point of manslaughter. Not with a car, with a gun. People have been shot dead on the side of the road because someone lost their temper behind the wheel. Maybe humans were never meant to travel at driving speeds, who knows? But some people will get incandescently angry with a stranger over driving. So even if the car itself is dangerous, the random person operating it might be the death of you through a variety of outcomes. Beyond the risks driving poses to your life, cars are expensive. Modern tech advantages are largely a good thing, but Drew Gooden pointed out how tech has ruined cars while making them more expensive than ever. There was even a used car shortage and price jump during the chip shortage because most new cars rely on computers Even if you can afford the monthly car payment, subscription-based features are already creeping in to jack up the price. Then add the constantly fluctuating price of gas, insurance, and repairs. No way using public transit comes close to that total cost and wasted time. The extra sick part is that newer cars and larger cars are typically safer, but also more expensive. Used and cheaper cars are often smaller and less robust, which therefore will get flattened when it's hit by a Hummer. For how integral driving is to the American workforce, it's just extra mean to put safety behind a paywall. There is no patent for the seatbelt because instead of thinking of profits, the inventor thought of the greater good, a sentiment sadly lost to time. It's a very personal gripe, but driving culture in the US is individualistic to a fault. Employers can refuse to hire you if you rely on public transit because it's seen as unreliable. Commuting to work by driving is such a waste. Your job might start at 9, but depending on where you can afford to live, you might have to leave home hours before to accommodate rush hour traffic and sheer distance. An extra fuck you if you're not a morning person. The massive office buildings I've worked in were in an industrial park that was close to a highway, and that's it. No bus, no sidewalk, no other businesses, not even a place to get lunch. Just had to pay to commute back and forth from a sad gray tower every day. Not to mention, commute time isn't paid. You are expected to own a car, maintain and fuel it just to go back and forth between a location no one needs to be at. I have yet to hear a reasonable argument against working from home. Return to office is largely just greedy, which isn't surprising, but I dislike it and the bad faith arguments used to justify it. Not being able to drive is seen as weird and as a failing as an adult. We have turned transportation into a status symbol, and that's really lame. Parking is a byproduct of car dominance that is also less than desirable. Giant American cars need a place to stop, but that means massive parking lots overtake limited free space. Most shopping centers have parking lots the same size as the retail space. Airport parking structures are another scale entirely. Public transit doesn't park, it keeps moving. Rather than dedicating more room to parked cars, let public transit get most people most of the way with walkable areas to complete the journey. Rideshare is a weird development. I have used rideshare apps, but I try to avoid them if at all possible. The cars and drivers on the apps cover a wide range of fine to scary. Being trapped in a car with a stranger and trusting they can actually drive doesn't even begin to compare to the fear of what some of these strangers decide to talk about. There's ongoing lawsuits when even worse things happen. Assuming drivers and cars are saved, the tech companies running these services screw both the driver and the rider. Fees, surcharging, price gouging, bad pay, safety issues, and more. Rideshare might be less unpleasant than some older taxi systems, but both are trying to cover up the bigger issue. Another very American problem is individualism and social pressure combining to create stigma around public transit. I won't deny, I've seen some wild stuff on the bus, and that wouldn't be an issue in a private car. But I don't feel like I failed as a person for not owning a car, and neither should anyone else. We don't have the same issue when people use public libraries instead of buying every book, but not having a car is seen as lesser. Some people honestly enjoy driving and road trips, but I feel like most people are tricked into a massive, dangerous, and expensive system when there are other options. To anyone still watching, how and why, but also thank you. I like the idea of content creation, but I have no idea if people will listen to what I have to say. Who knows what is next? Sub if you want.